Hey there! Today I would like to talk about the Sheaffer Prelude Blue Shimmer, which I got at La Couronne du Comte because there was a kind of deal thing going on there which gave us a reduction on many Sheaffer pens, and since I didn't own Sheaffer fountain pens, I thought it would be interesting to get some. So, the box, a fairly simple box, but inside is a nice pen, and I prefer simple boxes with nice pens to beautiful boxes with stupid pens in there. Prelude Blue Shimmer. I'll show you the pen in a second, but first I'll just open this up, show you what else is in there, what was in there before it fell out. I mean, we get a Sheaffer Use and Care Guide, which is always useful to check when you get new pens. Specific brands have specific instructions on how to take care of their pens. Then I have the international warranty, which is always useful. You just check what your rights are, how to return the pen. And then there was not one, in fact, but two cartridges, which I thought was fairly sympathetic. A blue one and a black one. In fact, I may use them when I'm in a tough spot and when I really need some ink quick, but the people of La Couronne du Comte were kind enough to provide me with a converter. So that's my preferred way of, filling a pen. So thank you for that. Here we have the pen. The pen is a nice metallic blue. I kind of like that. They come in a variety of colors and options. So if you don't like blue but you like the model, there's probably an option that will suit you. Okay, let's cover the pen. Let's start with the cap. On top of the cap is this nice little white thing, which for some reason reminded me a little bit of Mont Blanc pens. Of course, this is not the star, but it is white and it's on top of the cap. It is plastic. It's nothing special, but it does look nice. In fact, it gives it a nice, end thing. The white dot is represented here on top of the clip. You see that nice little white dot there? That is the Sheaffer way of saying that this is a quality writing instrument. They've been doing that for many years. Okay, the cap, excuse me, the cap is, the clip is a nice little clip with quite some spring to it, and it's cleft in the middle, which I kind of like. This will definitely keep the pen in your shirt pocket or whatever. Then there is this band on top of the cap, which tells you it is a Sheaffer pen many times, I think 4 or maybe even 5 times, so there's no way of mistaking this pen for any other brand. Something I'd like to tell you is that the pen is made entirely of metal, so both the barrel and the cap are solid metal. I'll just unscrew it for a second, which is kind of nice because it gives the pen a very decent feel. It makes it look, really, it's fairly heavy at 50 grams. It's heavy for a pen. And just, it feels reliable because it's heavy and all metal. It is metal, as you can hear there. Yeah, so I like that. The barrel itself, what I like is that it has this rounded off thing. So it looks like one, big sheet of solid metal was used, and that's kind of a nice thing, I think. Okay, then we have the grip. Now that I have the barrel unscrewed, I might as well just tell you about the converter. I'll talk about the nib in a second. This is a Sheaffer proprietary converter. Usually these converters have a little, nipple there. You put into the feed. You can see the feed in there, and it has the nipple sticking out. And you just push the converter on top of that, which means the connection is really securely and tightly. Of course, you can pull it out, but it's in there really tightly, which makes the probability of accidentally pulling out the converter and sending ink everywhere, which I have in fact done on more than one occasion, but not with this pen because it's in there nicely and tightly. The converter is one of those piston things. You can't really see it moving out there, but there is a piston moving up and down, which is just activated by twisting this end. You're probably familiar with that. Okay, then we have this nice little metal band running across the grip section, and we have the thread. Now you may notice that the thread is really this is a wide threaded section, so I mean it's long, So if I start screwing this back in place, just check how long this takes. And there we have it. And that again makes this feel very decent. There is no, you know, motion. It's kept in place very tightly because of this long threaded section. Okay, coming to the grip section. The grip section has a nice bit of texture. You can see it right there on two sides, which is where your thumb and index fingers will go, and it has no texture on the bottom, which may mean that although your index finger and thumb will not move a lot, that your middle finger or whatever you have under the pen may slide a little bit. I've not had any trouble with that, but you know, could be a problem for you. I don't think so, but you never know. Okay, the nib. The most important part of the pen is, of course, the nib, and this is a broad nib. I decided to get a broad nib because I tend to prefer medium and broad to fine. That's just a personal thing. And apparently when Sheaffer tells you their nib is broad, they're not kidding. This nib is huge, and it lays down an enormous amount of ink and a very wide line. If you have very fine handwriting, I do not recommend you get a broad nib. And not with this brand. With some other brands it's okay, but this is really huge. I'll show you that later on in the writing sample. For me it's not a problem, because I like it, but even for me this is on the broad end of the broad spectrum. The nib is really well made. I cannot really show you that, but if I hold it against the light, I can see a ray of light passing through the two tines of the nib, and that means it has been made and manufactured and, you know, made just in an excellent manner, which is always a good sign you can look out for if you're checking the quality of a nib, and you can really see that clearly here, so that's a good sign. Okay, on the nib is the word Sheaffer and the B for broad, and there are some curly lines that just make it look cool. Okay, the cap clicks in place, not a screw-on cap, but a click-on cap, but just listen to this. Does that click in place or what? I mean, it's really on there very tightly, and there's a very small probability of you accidentally opening that. So, in all, I really like this pen. It's nice and heavy. It feels, you know, well made and decently constructed. I like the color. It's a nice dark blue, and the metallic sheen kind of adds to it as far as I'm concerned. A nice clip, a good pen. The one downside I could point out is that, you know, the size is fine. You can even post it if you like. It may get a little top heavy because of the all metal cap, but that's not the real issue. For me, the only thing that could be a downside is the width of this nib. This is really a broad nib. Again, for me that's not a problem, but if you have a very small handwriting, it could be something I would consider not getting a broad nib if you have very fine handwriting. Now, of course, if you do have such a handwriting, you probably won't get a broad nib, but on Asian pens, if you get a broad nib, you usually get something that would be a medium on Western pens, but this is truly broad. So that's all I'm going to say about it, but if you're not sure about whether your handwriting is big enough to accommodate this, it may be safer to get a medium. Okay, I think the best thing to do is to just give you a writing demonstration so that you can judge for yourself whether it's really that broad or whether it's too broad for you. And that's it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, writing with the Sheaffer Prelude Blue Shimmer. Now, this pen has a broad nib, and apparently when Sheaffer says broad, they aren't kidding. Blue Shimmer I'm not gonna put down. As you can see, this is a wide line. So the broad here really is broad. Just to give you an idea how much this can vary between manufacturers, here's some lines with the Sheaffer, and here are some lines with the TWSBI Diamond 540, and this is a broad nib too. Do you see the difference? Now this TWSBI is manufactured in Asia, and usually Asian nibs are finer than Western nibs, and you can really see the difference here. I think the Sheaffer lines are nearly twice as wide as the Twisby lines, so beware when you're buying nibs. In any case, this is a very nice pen. I like the smoothness. There is really, I can feel almost no resistance from the nib on the paper. By the way, the ink here is Diamine Twilight, a nice shaded dark blue / grayish color. I really like it. In any case, as to the pen, you can see it's a broad line. One of these squares is 1/2 centimeter by 1/2 centimeter, and you can probably see I can fill it up fairly easily with this nib. So it really is a broad line. Okay, when it comes to flexibility, this is no pressure. I add more pressure, and you see that, well, there's not a huge difference. It's not the most flexible nib. Then again, it's stainless steel. This is not a gold nib, so that is some kind of, you could expect this. For me, it's not really an issue. Because it's a broad nib, it will lay down a huge amount of ink very rapidly. And just to give you an idea, you probably, you can sort of see this. The converter is empty up to this point. This morning it was full, and just an ordinary day of writing, I didn't do any excessive writing, and I'm nearly through my ink, which is what happens if you have such a broad nib, because it's a gusher and it lays down a large amount of ink. I think I've stressed that point enough. In any case, it's also a there's absolutely nothing wrong with the feed here. I'm just being quick here. Not legible, just quick, and as you can see, the nib holds up very well. So there's no skipping whatsoever. Okay. So as you can see, it's very smooth. One can make these flourishes very easily. There's no skipping there. So I really like this pen. Considering what I paid for it, I think this was excellent value for the money. A very smooth, very nice writer. So, that's it. I hope this was useful. I thank you, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.